A comment by a user called Yaroslavov about the pronunciation of R has given rise to what I'm going to talk about here. Mr. Yaroslavov says that I should be paying attention to my pronunciation of the letter R, and that, he said, my R should be more soft, not harsh, and that I should listen to some Italian songs and catch the real sound of R. Now, comments on pronunciation are very frequent on my channel, which is in restored classical pronunciation. Across Europe, various types of continental pronunciation are used, and not a large number of people use the restored classical pronunciation. In England, it's normal, and it's been standard since the end of the 1800s. But it certainly isn't the case in Italy and in other parts of Europe, where pronunciations that are derived from medieval pronunciations hold sway, and only a few people use the restored classical pronunciation. The question is, what did the Roman R sound like? And for this we have quite good authority. Victorinus, for example, says this. He says, quae vibratione vocis in palato, which has a vibrating voice in the palate, linguae fastigio fragorem tremulis ictibus reddit. So there's a broken sound of vibrating beats of the tongue on the palate, which is a trilled sound, rrr. And Donatus gives a slightly different version. Dicitur autem verbum a canibus, because the Romans called this the dog letter, qui restrictis dentibus, with the teeth gnashed like this, hanc litteram R imitantur. So dogs imitate the sound of this letter R by going R, which gives us a sort of guttural sound. So we have two different versions of how the letter R sounded. Neither of them particularly soft or gentle. So here I'm looking at Vox Latina by Sidney Allen, W.S. Allen, which is the standard reference for restored classical pronunciation. So he says this: there is evidence that the Latin R was of the tongue tip trilled or rolled type common in Scotland. And this is quite a strong letter. It's not a weak, mellifluous Italian sounding letter. Apart from imprecise early descriptions of the sound as being like the growling of a dog, which is what I referred to there in the quote from Donatus, we have clear reference to its vibrant nature in the later grammarians. In the words of Terentianus Maurus, vibrat tremulis ictibus aridum sonorem. So it vibrates with shaking beats, a dry sound. So that's quite a clear statement about the nature of the R. And in the classical period, which is what we're dealing with, we have a trill, which is described by the later writers. I'm going to look now briefly at Bennett, the history, sounds, and inflections of the Latin language, and he says this about the letter R. R was trilled with the tip of the tongue, r, as is clearly described by Terentianus Maurus and Marius Victorinus. The name littera canina, given to R, as early as Lucilius, agrees excellently with the enunciation attributed to the latter. So, R, as the ancient Romans pronounced it, was a virile, masculine sounding letter, not a soft, mellifluous one. And Rome and the Roman language was a very militaristic, strong, masculine sounding language. It wasn't soft. The continental medieval pronunciation, which is now known as the ecclesiastical pronunciation, is indeed very soft, and the consonants are softened. The sound is much softened. This is not the case with restored classical pronunciation, which is a harsh, virile, masculine sounding language. And some people don't like the sound of restored classical for this reason, that it has this roughness to it. But the Romans were a rough people. They weren't soft and educated philosophers like the Greeks. They were bridge builders and dome builders and land conquerors. So that's my little bit on the letter R and restored classical pronunciation of Latin. Vale.